This is God, I'm scruffy today. I just made a video and then I looked at myself. That is a mistake. I'm gonna have to shave, lose some weight. I don't know, possibly skin a more attractive person and put them on my face for some of these videos. It's like a horror show. I do apologize. Well, I'm back. I'm back for another wonderful collection of mind videos from the internet. This one is entitled, "What are some of the worst congregations that you ever attended?" As I say, I find these online and I think they're brilliant, so I'm just going to give them a bit of wider publicity. And here goes. My experience with Kingdom Halls, just to get you started, I only ever went to, to my memory, went to two Kingdom Halls. I went to one in Mississauga in Toronto. Shout out to you guys when I was a youngster. And I also went to Lisburn in the lovely city of Northern Ireland, lovely country in Northern Ireland. First things first, Mississauga was a great congregation, lovely people. Obviously I was a child, so I didn't know any of the secrets or the bad behaviours, which I'm sure were all, the same everywhere. But they were very nice people and they helped my family when we were in need several times. So you guys, you get a Bible today because I don't know your secrets and I'm not going to share them. Lisbon, on the other hand, was a shithole, remains a shithole, terrible place. Let's find out about some of your Kingdom Halls. Tell me some experiences of the worst congregations you attended while you were a Jehovah's Witness. Okay. The congregation in Queens that I was assigned to when I was in Bethel. I was tempted many times to ask for a transfer, but never had the guts to go through with it. We were all cowards, weren't we? The people were generally nice, but the elder body was so over the top rigid. Oh, I hated that. And they went as far to make it a law that brothers were never to take off their jacket, suit, coat off in service. This was enforced during the summer when temperatures were in the mid-90s. I rejoiced the week the CO came. You were probably the only one. For as soon as field service arrangements were made on Sunday, he took his jacket off and their little rule died that day. Actually, I take it back. People, as I recall now, people were always very keen to see the circuit overseer because they were waiting for some injustice to be sorted out. And you hoped that he was going to make it right when the circuit overseer came. Oh dear. Congregations with this one with a lot of inbreeding. Where the presiding overseer of most of his family and friends appointed as elders. They tried to do that in Lisburn. They tried, the guy didn't have children, he tried to make all his friends elders. Didn't work out for him, but it was a sleazy era in my youth, let me tell you. I remember one like that for a while and I moved out ASAP, absolutely. Try going to a hall with a younger brother is the coordinator of the body of elders and the other one is a former Bethelite. I just think brothers shouldn't be elders in the same congregation. You might be right there. The elders in the congregation I was in seemed to make up their own disfellowshipping offences. It's like The Simpsons. Looking back at me, that's a paddling. That's a disfellowshipping. Things they can't technically disfellowship you for, but then they do it anyway, because fuck your eternal life. It created a fear-based environment. Well, it'll do that, won't it? Including people ratting each other out constantly in an attempt to save themselves. It was just awful. This is good. The fear I saw and experienced in that congregation was far worse than the other ones I was in. Here's a newsflash. You shouldn't experience fear in any congregation. It's like North Korea. That was also the congregation where a known paedophile was actually promoted by the elders, the same elders who helped him gain full custody of his daughters he was raping by painting his wife as unstable in court. The whole thing was just a nightmare. Mostly for the girls that the Jehovah's Witnesses allowed to be raped. But then they have a habit of doing that, don't they? A lot of inbreeding in my congregation too. In fact, when my husband came to the memorial, first time for this congregation, he had to ask me if a particular family was in charge, as the entire family did everything. Shocker. Also, as soon as one of the young sisters came of age, they were married off. They would seem so happy and glowy, and then after a few months of wedded bliss, they looked so miserable. Indeed they would. Lots of sisters on antidepressants. And I must say, I've never seen a bitchier, more self-righteous bunch. That sounds exactly like my Kingdom Hall. Bitchy and self-righteous. Oh dear. As I've told you before in one of my videos, last time I saw this guy, he was actually 100 meters down the road here doing service. A lovely guy called Paul, right? And I was good friends with Paul. We used to go out and have beers and stuff on a Friday night after service, of course. And I saw Paul again and he shunned me. I thought, that's a mean. He's an elder, but I suppose he has to show that he's a good shunner on a service. And it was only later that I discovered that his wife had been cheating on him while he was an elder for well over a decade. She didn't even get this fellowship. She didn't even get reproved. Special. Anyway, dear me. The last congregation that I associated with was the worst. I think there's other people will argue here. The first Sunday that we attended the meeting, I noticed that only elders carried the microphones and ran the sound. Elders worked the literature counter. The elder body had totally stifled growth in the congregation by demanding perfection. If you weren't getting out 11 or 12 hours in field service, you couldn't be used. Furthermore, if a brother ever made a mistake, he would never be used again. The theocratic ministry school was even worse. The conductor was barely literate. Literacy does not count into these things, my friend. All that matters is you're a company man. You don't have to be able to read to be able to tell other people how to read. Don't be an idiot. He shouldn't have been allowed to give a public talk, yet here he was trying to show others how to make presentations. He insulted the student speakers while giving them counsel. I learnt later that the whole school had about a 50% participation rate, mainly because of how poorly he behaved. Oh, good Lord. The young people were not allowed to progress, and they left the congregation as quick as they could and never looked back. Well, those young people were done a good service, in a way, weren't they? Dear me. Okay. Worst congregation I ever attended was run by all one family. Except everyone was related to everyone. That's usually what you get with one family. Okay. And if you weren't relative of someone, you pretty much got excluded from everything, whether it was congregation responsibilities or social activities. Gossip, 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 and more gossip. That's something that I find, even today, 15 years out, I have to avoid, because it was a common phrase in my congregation. Any gossip? And that was the actual, what about you? How you doing? Any gossip? And that was what you were looking for, okay? And I have to fight myself now to basically, whenever I hear something or someone starts to tell me something, just say, you know what? I don't want to know, okay? Because that's in me now. It's beaten into me. Not beaten, but drilled into me. Anyway, at one point there was an elder who had an affair, left his wife and remarried his sister. He got reinstated within like 6 months, and about a year later he was appointed as an elder again. After I moved away from the congregation, I heard that the circuit overseer stepped in and removed the whole body of elders. Ah, good for him. Of course, he's probably up to worse himself. Okay. There's somebody said, this sounds so much like my congregation. What I had difficulty understanding before it hit me was not the truth, was how they could claim to be following Jesus and be so cliquish. How could they quote the Bible about the fatherless boys and the widow, which I was told didn't mean in the literary sense, but in the sense that maybe they had no one else in the truth, and yet treat people in such an exclusive way? But when I would speak about it, I would be told that Jehovah would sort things out in his own time. Jehovah's very tardy, isn't he? Jehovah just does not want to do anything quick. That's what I've discovered. Oh my goodness. 2 new brothers moved. This is going to be the last one because I think I might run out of memory. 2 new brothers moved into the small congregation in my town in South Carolina. A couple of weeks after they arrived, one of the new guys announced to the congregation that he and the other brother were representatives from the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. Dun dun dun! And that all of the servant body and regular pioneers in the congregation had been disfellowshipped. Oh, a clean sweep! That's like a strike, a double strike. He then stated, only through the undeserved kindness of Jehovah's Holy Spirit was the congregation going to remain in existence. Of course, all the details of what happened eventually hit the gossip network. They always do. I'm an apostate and I hear gossip about my own hall. Evidently, a group of married elders, ministerial servants and regular pioneers used to get together with their spouses and have wife-swapping parties. This went on for many years. Once the society got wind of it, they dispatched these 2 troubleshooters to handle the problem. They even disfellowshipped the older pioneers because the Watchtower Society said that they had to know what was going on but never said anything about it. And then they recruited new servants from all over the circuit. This was a congregation in the boondocks, and a lot of weird things happen in remote congregations, but this is the worst that I can remember. Abso-friggin-lutely. Well, guys, I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to hit you with a new video later on this week on the same subject. What are some of the worst congregations you attended? And if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Have a good day.